The car pulled up to a modern high-rise in the most expensive part of the city. Of course Damien Cross lived here. They rode the private elevator up to the penthouse in charged silence. Nora was acutely aware of Damien standing beside her, his presence overwhelming in the small space. The elevator doors opened directly into his penthouse, and Nora gasped. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the entire city skyline, lights twinkling like stars. The space was massive, modern furniture in blacks and grays, expensive art on the walls, a kitchen that belonged in a magazine. "This is beautiful," she breathed. "It's just a place." He loosened his tie, and Nora's eyes tracked the movement of his fingers. "Can I get you something to drink? Wine? Champagne? Water is fine, actually." She needed to keep her wits about her. He smiled like he knew exactly why she was declining alcohol. "Water it is." While he went to the kitchen, Nora walked toward the windows, looking out at the view. She'd lived in this city her whole life but had never seen it from this height, this perspective. "Here." She turned to find Damien holding out a glass of water. She took it, their fingers brushing, and electricity shot up her arm. "Thank you for this," she said. "For the donation to the hospital. That was really generous. I donate to that hospital every year." He moved to stand beside her at the window. "But I've never been willing to auction myself off before tonight. Why did you this time?" "Honestly, I don't know. My assistant talked me into it." He turned to face her. "But I'm glad she did." "Why?" "Because otherwise I wouldn't have met you." His hand came up to cup her face, his thumb stroking her cheek. "You're different from the women I usually spend time with." "You mean I'm boring?" "I mean you're real." His blue eyes searched hers. "You bid on me with your heart racing and your cheeks flushed, not because you wanted to add me to your collection of conquests. You looked terrified and brave at the same time. That combination. That's not boring, Nora. That's fascinating." No one had ever called her fascinating before. "I should tell you something," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm not. I don't have experience with this. With men like you. With any of this really." "I gathered that." His hand slid into her hair, gentle but possessive. "How much experience are we talking about?" "None. I mean, I've been kissed but it was bad and I've never." She couldn't say it. Couldn't admit to this gorgeous, experienced man that she was a virgin. But understanding dawned in his eyes. "You've never been with anyone." It wasn't a question, but she nodded anyway. "And you came home with me anyway. Either you're incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. Both probably." Damien laughed softly. Then his expression turned serious. "I need you to understand something. I don't do relationships. I don't do commitment or promises of forever. I'm not a good man, Nora. I use people and I move on." "Then why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserve honesty." His thumb traced her jawline. "But I want you. I want to kiss you, touch you, show you everything you've been missing. If you stay tonight, that's what will happen. And then tomorrow, you'll go back to your life and I'll go back to mine." It should have hurt, hearing him lay it out so bluntly. But there was something freeing about it too. No expectations. No promises. Just one night to experience what she'd only read about in books. "What if I want that?" she asked. "What if I want just one night?" His control visibly cracked. "Then you need to say it. Out loud. Tell me what you want, Nora." She took a breath, gathering every ounce of courage she possessed. "I want you to kiss me. I want you to show me what I've been missing. I want." She met his eyes. "I want my first time to be with you." Damien went completely still. "You want me to be your first?" "Yes. That's not something to give away lightly." "I'm not giving it away. I'm choosing you." For a long moment, he just looked at her. Then he set down his drink and took her glass, placing it beside his. "If we do this, we do it right," he said, his voice rough with need. "I'm not going to just take your virginity and send you home. You're mine for the whole night. I'm going to worship every inch of your body. I'm going to make you feel things you've never felt. And by the time the sun comes up, you're going to know exactly what pleasure feels like. Promise," she whispered. "That's a guarantee." He pulled her close, his hand fisting in her hair. Last chance to change your mind. I won't. Then let me kiss you properly. His mouth crashed onto hers, and Nora's entire world tilted. This was nothing like the awkward kisses she'd experienced before. This was claiming, consuming, setting her entire body on fire. His lips moved against hers with expert precision, coaxing her mouth open. When his tongue swept inside, she moaned. Damien groaned in response, his hand tightening in her hair. His other arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her flush against his hard body. She could feel every muscle, every plane of him, and heat pooled between her thighs. He walked her backward until her back hit the window, the cool glass a shock against her heated skin. His mouth never left hers, kissing her like she was oxygen and he was drowning. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. That, he said, his voice rough, is how you should be kissed. Nora couldn't form words. She could only stare at him, her lips swollen, her body aching for more. Bedroom? He asked. Or would you like dinner first? I'm not hungry. Not for food anyway. His smile was pure sin. Good. Because I plan to take my time with you. He took her hand and led her through the penthouse to a massive master bedroom. Dark colors, a bed that could fit 4 people, and more floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the city. Nora's heart pounded as he closed the door behind them. Nervous? He asked. Terrified. Good. He walked toward her slowly, predatorily. Fear makes everything more intense. But I promise you, Nora, I'm going to make this so good for you. He stopped in front of her, his hands going to her waist. We're going to take this slow. If at any point you want to stop, you tell me. Understood. Yes. And I need you to talk to me. Tell me what feels good. Tell me if something doesn't. This is about you tonight. Then his mouth was on hers again, and all her nervous thoughts scattered. Damien kissed her until she couldn't think, couldn't breathe, could only feel. His hands roamed her body, respectful but possessive, learning her curves through the thin fabric of her dress. This dress has been driving me crazy all night, he murmured against her lips. Watching you walk into the auction in this. I wanted to carry you out right then. Really? She couldn't believe that. Really? His fingers found the zipper at her back. Can I take it off? Yes. Slowly, tortuously, he dragged the zipper down. The dress loosened, and with a gentle push at her shoulders, it pulled at her feet. Nora stood before him in just her simple white bra and panties, nothing fancy, nothing sexy. She immediately wanted to cover herself. Don't, Damien said, catching her hands. Don't hide from me. You're beautiful. I'm not. You are. His eyes traveled over her body with such hunger that she actually believed him. Perfect curves. Soft skin. You're every fantasy I've ever had. He meant it. She could see the truth in his eyes, the desire written plainly on his face. Your turn, she said boldly. His eyebrow arched. My turn. Your clothes. It's not fair that I'm the only one half naked. Amusement flickered across his face. Fair enough. He removed his jacket, then his tie. Each button of his shirt seemed to take forever, revealing more of his body inch by inch. When the shirt finally came off, Nora's breath caught. He was magnificent. Broad chest, defined abs, muscles that spoke of hours in the gym. There was a tattoo on his ribs, some kind of design she couldn't quite make out in the dim light. See something you like? He teased. Everything, she admitted. He closed the distance between them, and the feel of his bare chest against her was intoxicating. His mouth found hers again as he walked her backward toward the bed. When the backs of her knees hit the mattress, she sat, and he knelt in front of her. What are you doing? She asked. Taking care of you. His hand slid up her thighs, and she trembled. Have you ever been touched here? His fingers brushed between her legs, over her panties, and Nora gasped. I'll take that as a no. His smile was wicked. Let me show you how good it can feel. He hooked his fingers in her panties and slowly dragged them down her legs. Nora wanted to close her legs, to hide, but Damien gently pushed her thighs apart. So beautiful, he murmured. And I'm going to taste every inch of you. Taste? Oh, his mouth was on her, and Nora's entire world exploded. The sensation was overwhelming, his tongue stroking, his lips sucking, his fingers joining in to enhance the pleasure. She'd read about this in books, but nothing had prepared her for the reality. Damien, she gasped, her hands fisting in his hair. That's it, baby. Say my name. He worked her with expert skill, building her higher and higher. Pleasure coiled tight in her belly, something big approaching that she'd never felt before. I feel, something's happening. Let go, he commanded against her core. Come for me, Nora. And she did. The release crashed through her in waves, making her cry out his name. Her body convulsed with pleasure so intense she thought she might pass out. Damien worked her through it, drawing out every last pulse of her release before finally pulling back. That, he said, his lips glistening, was your first climax. But not your last tonight. Nora could barely form words. Her body was still trembling, oversensitive and aching for more. Damien stood and removed the rest of his clothes. When he was finally naked before her, Nora's eyes went wide. He was impressive. Everywhere. Nervous again? He asked, moving back toward her. A little, she admitted. I'll be gentle. I promise. He laid her back on the bed, covering her body with his. But I need to prepare you first. His fingers slid inside her, one, then two, stretching her carefully. It felt strange but not painful. He moved them slowly, deliberately, watching her face for any sign of discomfort. You're so tight, he groaned. I'm going to have to take my time. I don't want you to wait, Nora said, surprising herself with her boldness. I want you. Now. Patience, sweetheart. Trust me. He continued preparing her, adding a third finger, making sure she was ready. When he finally withdrew his hand, she whimpered at the loss. I've got you, he murmured, reaching for protection from his nightstand. He quickly prepared himself, then positioned himself between her thighs. Look at me, Nora. I want to see your face. She met his eyes, those intense blue eyes that had started all of this. This might hurt at first, he warned. But I promise it gets better. Tell me if you need me to stop. Okay. Slowly, carefully, he began to push inside. Nora felt herself stretching, accommodating him. There was pressure, discomfort, a sharp pinch of pain. Breathe, Damien said, holding himself still. Just breathe through it. She did, and gradually her body adjusted. The pain faded to a dull ache, then to something else entirely. More, she whispered. He pushed in further, inch by inch, until he was fully seated inside her. They both groaned at the sensation. You feel incredible, he said, his voice strained with the effort of holding still. So perfect. So tight around me. Move, Nora pleaded. Please. He did, pulling out slowly before pushing back in. Each stroke was careful, measured, giving her time to adjust. And gradually, the discomfort transformed into pleasure. Oh, she gasped as he hit a spot deep inside that made stars explode behind her eyes. Oh, that feels good. He did it again. Yes. Don't stop. Never. His pace increased, still controlled but more passionate. You're taking me so well, baby. Made for this. Made for me. The praise sent heat flooding through her. She wrapped her legs around his waist, pulling him deeper, and Damien groaned. Careful, he warned. I'm trying to go slow for you. I don't want slow anymore. She raked her nails down his back. I want you. His control snapped. His thrusts became harder, faster, more desperate. The sound of skin meeting skin filled the room, mixed with their moans and gasps. Nora felt that coiling tension building again, even more intense this time. I'm close, she gasped. Good. Come for me again. Let me feel you. His hand slid between their bodies, finding her most sensitive spot and circling with expert precision. That was all it took. Nora shattered, crying out his name as her release crashed through her. She felt him follow her over the edge, groaning as he found his own completion. They collapsed together, sweaty and breathless and utterly satisfied. After a moment, Damien carefully withdrew and disposed of protection, then pulled her against his chest. How do you feel? He asked, his fingers trailing lazy patterns on her back. Amazing, Nora admitted. Is it always like that? No. He kissed her forehead. That was special. You were special. She knew she shouldn't read into those words. He'd been clear about what this was, one night, nothing more. But right now, wrapped in his arms with her body still humming from pleasure, she let herself pretend it meant something more.